100 fighter jets were involved, and U.S. defense officials think that this could have been a dry run for a bombing of Iran's nuclear facilities. Israeli leaders have said that they will attack if Iran continues to develop its nuclear program, and this exercise certainly sends a strong message that they're ready to go. And with us now is Jeremy Ben-Ami, who is the executive director of J Street, which is a pro-Israel, pro-peace lobbying firm. Jeremy, great to see you.
Thank you very much.
Now, this is quite something, isn't it? And meant to send quite the message to Iran after Mahmoud Ahmadinejad this week said, check, we won the nuclear game. We've won. What does that tell you?
Well, it certainly sends a lot of signals. I mean, it sends signals to Iran, it sends signals here in the U.S. and in Europe. And it's within Israel's right to run these exercises, flex its muscles, and show what it's willing to do.
What should the United States, though, do? Because we have a lot of moving pieces on this chessboard right now. Obviously, our concern in Iraq. We, along with the international community, have been trying, with pretty much no success, to stop Iran from pursuing its nuclear ambitions. What next?
Well, I think that serious diplomacy would be next. I think that what's been missing is actual serious U.S. engagement. We've contracted out our diplomacy, we've contracted out our foreign policy to the Europeans.
But what are we supposed to do? Barack Obama sit down with Mahmoud and just figure it all out?
Well, that's what diplomacy is. It's an important part of foreign policy.
So would you say you'd sit down with Mahmoud Ahmadinejad without preconditions like Barack Obama?
Well, I think it's not a question of whether it's sit with Ahmadinejad. I think there are a lot of factors and factions within Iran that need to be engaged. I think there's the supreme leaders, the address that Putin goes to, the new Speaker of the Parliament is going to be a real player.
Right. So, but you brought up Putin, and that's an important point. Both China and Russia clearly are not helping us in Iran, and in fact are helping Iran. China and Russia both very unhappy with this Israeli military exercise, and Russia specifically saying, we don't see any evidence that Iran is pursuing its nuclear ambitions like you say. So if that's a fact, what Russia and China are doing, all this talk of, oh, we got to help with the Russians, we got to work with the Russians, have all these people step in, they're not helping. We have been working with the international community, we have been working through the UN, and that has been turbo diplomacy. I mean, this idea that we're not doing anything, Jeremy, I just think that's just wrong. We are doing things.
Doing things, but whether it's an actual serious, sustained effort.
What do you think would stop Mahmoud Ahmadinejad from doing what he's doing?
Well, let's actually explore the opportunities here. I mean, let's actually go there and talk.
Wipe Israel off the face of the map. He starts with that statement. So where do we go from there?
There's no question that the man is a madman. There's no question that Iran poses a threat. There's no question that Israel has every right to defend itself. Those things go unquestioned. There's no question that we don't want Iran to have a nuclear weapon. The policy we're pursuing right now is failing. That we should be able to agree on. They are moving ahead with enrichment. They're moving ahead with weaponization. There's no question that the track we're on right now isn't working. So the question is whether there's a better way to go.
Isn't the idea that we should be have this global understanding now about nuclear proliferation? That's just completely out the window, right? I mean, we still have nations that are acting in their individual interests. We have nation states that have sovereign ideas about what they want, their priorities. And Iran is basically saying, you know something, I don't care that the rest of the world doesn't want us to pursue nukes. We're going to have them because Pakistan has them, and Israel is capable of hitting us, and we don't like the fact that America's, right next door in Iraq. And we are going to stand up for ourselves. To heck with the international community. Where's all this global politics now?
Well, one of the questions you have to ask is, why is Iran doing this? And is part of the reason that they feel actually backed into a corner, and did, in fact, American and Israeli actions over the last years lead to a point where they feel they actually have no other
So it's our fault that Iran is, what is it, 3,000 centrifuges are whirring around? It's our fault?
Well, not necessarily our fault, but we could be doing something more to stop it. And we could be actually trying to find avenues to engage with them. We could actually find ways of pursuing this without resorting first to the military option.
But we haven't been resorting to the military option. I mean, all we've been doing is trying to work through these international institutions that the American left is always telling us are our saviors, which is the UN. Well, and we've been working now. France is even stepping up after, all the years that it, was working, its technology going to Iran with these nuclear facilities, technology that now we're really upset that they ended up selling them. Even France is coming along. It's still not enough. So it's nice to say we're going to talk, but talk and say what? Do what?
The U.S. has actually been absent from these conversations. So I wouldn't say that the U.S. has been actively engaged. So we've contracted this out to the Europeans, and we've let others do our bidding. We have folks like General Petraeus and Secretary of Defense Gates who are saying that the pursuit of aggressive diplomacy is actually an important precondition if you are going to have to pursue some form of military action.
I think our voice is out there, but hey, we're willing to try anything, I guess, at this point. Jeremy, thanks a lot for being here. I appreciate it. And when we come back, Director Spike Lee reportedly says that if Obama is president, he'll create a chocolate city. Very nice. And